Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Random Vlogging! Um, so, uh, I had a video I'm still going to release today, talking about Jolmas, and, uh, support of, something that Kiri Callaghan, kind of, I guess, unofficially created type thing. So yes, that video will still be coming out later today. However, I literally just woke up, which is why I look like this. And I was on Twitter and I saw Boogie2988 talking about people getting their YouTube channels shut down and getting monetization options removed and things like that. Um, and I thought that was really weird, especially since anyone that actually watches my stuff knows I had a copyright strike made against me for my TJ Reviews video of Blade and Soul. Now, it was actually taken care of relatively quickly compared to how long it could have. I think it took like a week-ish for it to get taken care of. But yeah, it could have taken up to a month for it to get rid of. So I was actually relatively pleased with how quick and simple it was to do that. I filled out the form. I actually went and in my defense, I actually quoted copyright law and specifically the fair use defense, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And it was resolved very, very quickly. So, with that, and one of the recent posts on the Team Human Facebook page and stuff like that, I am going to talk about copyrights because 99% of the people complaining about copyright right now have absolutely no idea what it is. And because of this, they are attacking copyright holders for completely bonkers reasons, and it's just annoying the hell out of me. So we're going to talk about what actual copyright law is, who it benefits, who it doesn't benefit, and we're going to actually talk about what fair use is, because too many people do not understand what fair use means, and they try and use it as a blanket term to let them break copyright law whenever they want. So, first things first, what is copyright? Copyright is basically a legal system that was created to give content creators the ability to somewhat control who makes money off of their creations. To be blunt, I'm actually not 100% sure when copyright law as we know it today actually came about, but I'm actually going to see if I can actually find out. If you read the Wikipedia page, copyright is the legal right created by the law of a country that grants the creator of an original work exclusive rights for its use and distribution. This is usually only for a limited time. The exclusive rights are not absolute, but limited by limitations and exceptions to copyright law, including fair use. Copyright is a form of intellectual property, blah, 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 blah. History. Came about with the invention of the printing press and wider literacy. As a legal concept, its origins in Britain were from a reaction to printers' monopolies at the beginning of the 18th century. So, the basics of it are back in the beginning of the 18th century, which is the 1700s, the printing press was relatively new, and it became easy to mass produce writings and things like that. It's one of the reasons why literacy became as common as it is now, where literally just about everybody in most developed countries can read. That was not the case before the printing press, simply because there was no reason. There wasn't a ton of written words that you needed to read. And the only time someone would ever, there were only certain professions that actually needed to learn to read because everything else was told by word of mouth. Printing press changed that. But one of the things that also changed is someone could technically take someone else's work, print it, and then make shit tons of money off it, even though all they did was copy someone else's work. So that's where the beginnings of copyright came from. And again, it was specifically designed so that people that had the ability to mass produce things couldn't take someone else's work and use it for their own means. This is what copyright still is. Now, we fast forward to now, and copyright has become much more difficult to define. Copyright has become much more difficult to understand because lawyers, to be 100% honest, it's because of lawyers. Lawyers and laws becoming more complex in general. Because of precedents and things like that, of people doing things and then claiming, well, there isn't a law against it. We have all these frivolous laws and things like that because that technically works in the court of law some of the time. And so just to prevent people from using it over and over and over again, we have all these crazy, complicated laws so that it's very difficult to find loopholes. Excuse me. Again, I have not been awake for very long, so my voice is kind of shot right now. Give me just 2 seconds here. Yes. Glass of milk, always a good choice. So, now our copyright laws are very, very complicated. Because of that, people think they do things that they don't. Copyright only gives people the ability to control the things they make in as far as someone else could make money off of it or stop them from making money. That is what 99% of copyright disputes are about. Either you are attempting to make money off of something you didn't create, and therefore you are breaking copyright law, which is illegal, or you are doing something that is hurting their chance to make money off of what they created. Now, that second one is where a lot of people get confused. One of the things that happened recently on the Team Human Facebook page was they talked about there was a website that said cosplay, if this thing went up against the Supreme Court, cosplay would become illegal, which is a false statement. There is absolutely nothing to support that statement. It is simply sensationalization and yellow journalism is 100% what it is. It is trying to get people riled up about something when they had no idea what it was. The actual court case was about 2 cheerleading uniforms that were literally the exact same design, just a color palette swap. And so the person that made it first sued the second person saying, hey, you took my design and changed the colors. That's mine. I put a lot of time and effort into designing that, and you just went and copied it and changed the colors, which is unbelievably simple with our technology now. So he said, hey, don't do that. They went to court over it. The court actually found in favor of the original developer of the design, saying, yes, you can actually copyright a design like that. And then this really poorly researched article got published about it because the person that lost is escalating it up, and apparently it may actually go up to the Supreme Court of the United States. So everyone's going, oh my God, that means that they're going to be able to make cosplay. No, because it doesn't work that way. What they were actually talking about was copying a physical design that the original company had already copywritten. The way that copyright works for patterns and designs and things like that, for people that sell them, is the actual physical design is what is copywritten. Not the fabrics, not the clothing type, it's the physical design. One of the things that people used to support this is this article about this cosplayer who went and basically made a cosplay of the rugs of, I can't remember what hotel it is, but it's a hotel that has a really big convention at it. I can't remember the convention because, again, I've been up for like 20 minutes now. And he got a cease and desist letter for doing that. And so they're using that to go, look, they're going to stop people from cosplaying. No, that's not what happened. For copyright on carpets and rugs, you cannot copyright carpeting. That's not how it works. However, the design that is put onto the carpeting can be. They basically treat that design as a piece of art. What happened was this cosplayer took that design, that copywritten design, recreated it, or didn't recreate it. He copied it, pasted it onto basically like a hoodie type thing, is what I saw, and then claimed it as his own. That is illegal. You have taken an image someone else created and then literally copy pasted it and claimed that it was your own. In order for you to create something unique, there has to be a transformation aspect to it. That's actually a part of copyright law where you technically can use portions of other people's copywritten materials as long as there's significant enough transformation to be able to say that, no, this is an original work of art and it's not me just stealing someone else's idea. There has to be some creativity in it so that you've created something unique. The laws behind that are actually unbelievably complicated. I'm not going to get into them because that would take an entire separate video that I don't have time to make. If this is something that you guys really are interested about, I may do an entire series about copyright law and what it is and what it isn't. So let me know in the comments below if you guys would like to know more about copyright law. So all these people are freaking out about how cosplay is going to become illegal because copyright laws are going to stop it. No, it doesn't work that way. Like I said, when you're using someone else's, when you're inspired by someone else's copywritten design, as long as there is enough of a transformation and a change, you can still make what it is. You'll notice, excuse me, my voice is really bad right now. You'll notice that a lot of artists claim inspiration from other artists, and you'll also notice that there are quite a few songs by different artists that have kind of a similar feel and a similar chord structure, things like that. Some of these have actually been taken to court, and depending on how different it was from the original artist, sometimes the original artist will be found because it was a blatant copying, which is illegal, and other times the new artist would be completely allowed to do whatever they want with it because it was different enough that it wasn't really the original copyright holder's song anymore. It wasn't stopping them from making money, and it wasn't technically making money from something they created. This new song was different enough that it wasn't the same, and therefore it was in. Even though it was inspired and sometimes even based on something that was copywritten before, it had changed enough that it was a unique entity that was allowed to get its own copyright. That is what cosplay is. If you cosplay an anime character, the copyright that the anime company holds is on the likeness of their characters, and it's on the actual anime itself. If you walk around with a television on your chest playing their anime and charge people to watch your chest, that would be breaking copyright law. If you are inspired by an anime character to attempt to create the clothing that they wore in an anime, that is not breaking copyright law. If you copy-paste their face on your face, that would be breaking copyright law. But the likeness only applies to the anime itself. And any merchandise and things like that they create. So if the anime, I'm really sorry guys, it is very early in the morning right now. It's actually not, it's actually noon, but for me this is early in the morning because I'm just about nocturnal. So, Yeah, so that's a completely different, separate thing. And the fact that you're translating something from a 2D image into a 3D costume where their 2D image only used color, sometimes computer generation, sometimes actual hand drawing, and yours involves fabric and actual three-dimensional objects and things like that, those are completely separate ideas, and the transformation is enough that it is new and unique. The only time you could get in trouble is if somehow your cosplay is preventing the company from making money. If you cosplay a character and run around New York attacking people or saying racial slurs and things like that, you are damaging their brand. And because of that, uh, they will probably sue you, and copyright will come into that. Um, Technically, that'll probably fall a lot more under slander or libel, depending on whether it's written or spoken. But that will be one of the things that is factored into that. If an anime company creates a pattern for an outfit and starts selling it in your market, and you decide to start selling your own cosplays that are based on the same pattern, that would be breaking copyright infringement, because all you're doing is using their pattern to create something exactly the same as what they are making. You aren't doing anything more creative. You are literally just doing exactly what anyone that purchases their pattern themselves would be doing. That is breaking copyright law. Creating a unique cosplay based off of a 2D animation or even a 3D animation is not breaking copyright law, because it's significantly transformative. And as long as you are not preventing them from making money or attempting to make money off of it yourself in a way that is non-transformative, i.e. reselling their anime or something like that, that is not violating copyright law. Now, the other thing that's been happening recently, and I apologize for the length of this video, but this is just boggling my mind. Recently we saw Boogie298 talk about, I think his name was Chibi something, I don't know. He's a YouTuber. He's got significantly more followers than I do, probably because he's been doing it probably longer than I am. And from what I see, his content actually looks relatively interesting. He talked about how he got a copyright strike or something. He didn't really go into really specific details. The things that he went into details on is he lost the ability to monetize. He lost the ability to make videos longer than 15 minutes. Like, he lost all of the things on the YouTube creators page that let you do really cool stuff. And he was flipping shit about it because he couldn't figure out how it was. And he was claiming, he did claim it was a copyright strike. So I went and I started doing my own investigation, because if stuff like this is happening, and again, I just got a copyright strike against me. If stuff like this is happening, I need to know what's going on, so that if it does eventually affect my channel, I can defend myself. I went looking through that, and then he listed all these other people that had these copyright strikes as well. And I found one prevailing theme through all of them, which was they all used significant amounts of copyrighted material in their videos. For those of you who don't know how the content ID system works, they have a bunch of videos and music and things like that uploaded into their system. They have a computer that goes through that. If it matches anything that's in their system, it will auto strike it for whomever actually owns that copyright. That's the reason that my video got copywritten, because I had cutscenes in my video, and so those are literally the exact same video that was copyrighted, and that's why I got the copyright strike. I'd like to let you guys know right now, as of that point, I was breaking copyright law, and I will get into why it wasn't completely illegal in just a little bit. So all of these people use significant amounts of copyrighted material in their things. Now, a lot of them were review channels and things like that, which, again, we're going to talk about fair use in a little bit. But I was watching one of the videos, and it was like a 45-minute long video Probably a good 30 minutes of the video at least. I didn't watch the whole thing because I didn't have time. But going through, just kind of going through it very, very quickly and kind of scanning through the entire video, at least 30 minutes of it, so a good 2/3 of the video was entirely copywritten scenes from the movie that they were reviewing. Like just the entire thing, full audio, full video, nothing. It was just, they literally took the movie and put it on their computer, and then would cut it up with scenes of them talking about it, and then they would show more of the movie. That is breaking copyright law. You are quite literally showing scenes from a film. And because of the just massive amount that was in there, it's 100% simple to figure out why it was these people got copyright strikes. Blah, 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 blah. The only one that was listed on there that didn't make a whole lot of sense, that didn't actually fit under that, was this other guy who didn't actually get a copyright strike. He got a content violation. He violated the community guidelines. And what it was he had an entire series on hacking, and somebody flagged one of his videos as violating. Because hacking, for those of you that don't know or don't understand, hacking is illegal, and it always has been since it was created, because hacking is specifically getting access to information that you do not legally have the right to view. So he got a strike for that. It technically is a completely separate issue, and my understanding is if it hasn't been resolved yet, he's working through getting it resolved. But technically, again, he broke the community content guidelines. He was showing people how to do something technically illegal by calling it hacking. The specific video that got flagged technically wasn't showing you how to hack anything. It was just him showing you that what you think is encrypted isn't always encrypted. However, someone that was very, very clever that probably already knew this could somehow find a way to claim that you could use that to hack. So whatever. So we're going to throw that out because it's nothing to do with copyright and everything to do with the fact that he claimed he was teaching people how to do something illegal on YouTube. And the video itself was from 2.5 years ago, so it took a little while for them to catch on. So these other people, one of the things that I keep hearing all the time is fair use, fair use. It's fair use. You're not allowed to do this. It's fair use, fair use, fair use. Okay. I'm going to teach you guys something crazy here. This is probably going to blow your mind. You've never heard this before because nobody fucking understands it. Fair use is not a law. Oh my God, what does that mean? Fair use is a legal defense. It's very similar. Or technically, if you would like another example of a legal defense, the insanity plea is a legal defense. So, people preemptively claiming, because you see this all the time, this is fair, like they'll start the video off with, this is fair use, you know, so you can't take this down because this is fair use, blah, 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 blah. That is basically like me going into a heavily populated city, walking up to someone saying, I'm crazy, so you can't stop me from doing this, and beating the living shit out of them. Guess what, folks? It doesn't quite work like that, and I would probably go to jail. Fair use is a legal defense. It is only ever valid once you have already been accused of a crime and are guilty of committing that crime. Well, what do you mean? Okay, so the only time you can actually use fair use as a legal defense is if you actually have broken copyright. Oh, no, wait, that doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. So, in my Blade and Soul review, I was using copywritten material in that review. The entire video aspect was all stuff that I didn't create. It was all taken directly from the game Blade and Soul. That is copywritten material. I do have it monetized because I spent a lot of time and effort on it. So I am making money off of their creation. They did not give me permission to do it. They didn't even give me a review copy. Because it's a free-to-play game, I didn't have to buy a copy, which I was very happy about. But I did it on my own. I took their copywritten material, and I started making money off of it. That is breaking copyright law. It is. That's how it works. However, fair use is a legal defense that claims there are certain instances where you are allowed to break copyright law. They are, and I'm actually going to bring up fair use so I can, fair use doctrine. So fair use doctrine, I'm actually going to do. Give me this. Yeah, and fair use, by the way, is not, there we go. Maybe that's actually going to give me. So, fair use is based on the idea of there are certain situations where you can break copyright law because it is of benefit to other people. And for the most part, there are only two big categories where fair use applies. You have what's called commentary and criticism. That is what I did. A review is where I am commenting on and criticizing an item in the attempt to inform other people. The other things that kind of fall into this is use for educational purposes, which is another thing for fair use, and journalism, which technically all of those fall under commentary and criticism because all of it is designed to inform other people about a product or an idea or something like that. So you are allowed to break copyright law. Again, I'm trying to emphasize, at this point, you are breaking copyright law. You are doing something illegal. Until you get accused of it and it's proven, there's nothing you can do. Once it's proven, yes, you broke copyright law, you can invoke fair use doctrine. It's a legal defense. You could say, well, I did this, I broke copyright law, I committed a crime because I was attempting to inform people. The other one that is protected is what's called parody. And that basically means, like most of the stuff almost all the stuff Weird Al Yankovic does, if you are copying something specifically to parody it, that is covered under fair use doctrine. Again, you are allowed to break the law because it falls under this exception. You are still breaking the law. It's just excused for this particular time. Now, a lot of people misunderstand that fair use is somehow a law, and you can somehow preemptively say, well, no, this is fair use. No, you actually can't invoke it until someone actually accuses and proves that you are breaking the law. At that point, you can go, yeah. It's kind of the same thing as, again, I'm a martial artist. One of the things that you can see is if I was to get into a fight because somebody attacked me, whether or not I was justified in doing it, I'm breaking the law right then because I'm assaulting another person. For those of you that don't know, if you get into a fight that was completely, you had really no choice, it was completely self-defense, you will go to jail every single time because you broke the law. Now, when you get there, you can you explain your case. You go, by the way, this was self-defense. You give all the things. Each state actually has their own self-defense laws. They are very, very complicated. Any martial artists worth their weight in pizza dough knows before you go to a new state, you should look up what their self-defense laws are, because if you are put into a situation where you are forced to defend yourself, or absolute worst case scenario, use deadly force, there are very strict guidelines about when you can and when you can't, and they change in different states. So you are required to know that, and if you don't know that, you can go to jail for murder or assault simply because you didn't realize that this state doesn't have a stand your ground. defense, or this state requires, I can't remember what it is. I think it's like the obligation to retreat or something like that. There are quite a few states where if you get into a confrontation and you have the ability to walk away, even if they are attempting to attack you, you are legally required to walk away from the situation if you can. If you don't, you are breaking the law, and you will be charged with assault and convicted. That's how it works. So the same thing is true about copyright law. Until somebody actually accuses and proves you, fair use doesn't exist. It's a legal defense. So this idea of, I can just put this little disclaimer up and then you're not allowed to. No, fair use only works in defense of what you have done. And by using fair use, you actually have to admit that you broke the law by breaking copyright law. That's how it works, folks. The other thing that a lot of people don't use is they will use fair use for literally anything. Well, this is fair use because like a lot of Let's Players and things like that. It's like, well, no, this is fair use. It's fair use. I'm trying to. It doesn't quite work that way. If the entire purpose behind it, and they actually do take intent into the idea of fair use. If your entire purpose behind this is to make money, you're not going to get a fair use defense. You're simply not. You might be able to argue the transformative nature of it. And be able to go that route. You're not going to get a fair use defense because your purpose was not to educate, your purpose was not to parody, your purpose was to make money. So yes, that is copyright law. Copyright law is a good thing. It's a very good thing because people like me who don't have the money for lawyers and things like that, literally somebody on the internet without copyright law, somebody on the internet could take this, put it on their website, and make shit tons of money off of it. I don't know how they would because you have an ugly guy that hasn't shaved in a while talking about copyright law like a crazy person, but I'm sure there is a market for that somewhere. Copyright law is a good thing. It helps content creators protect their stuff. Before it was as refined as it is, people could do quite a few different things and just get screwed over and over and over and over again. Artists in general, until fairly recently, we're talking early to mid 19th century, or not 19th century, or early to mid 20th century actually. Artists were poor their entire lives. That's how it worked. Because there was no way for them to make money off of what they did. However, their patrons and things like that could make shit tons of money off of what they did. That being an artist and being a creator was a shit job that nobody wanted. And the only people that did it were the ones that were so passionate about it that they didn't care that they were going to die penniless and that they were going to be exploited over and over and over again. Now we have a system in place where artists and things like that can actually make money off of their work, can live very, very good lives, and support themselves primarily through being artistic. That is an amazing, wonderful thing, and we need that to be a thing. We really, really do. However, now we've got a bunch of people that don't want to put forth the work that is required to be an artist. They simply want to take someone else's art, claim it as their own, and then just get paid for it. That is not only dishonest, it ruins the ability of artists to be able to support themselves. I'm a very strong supporter of copyright law to a point. There are bogus copyright strikes that happen. I think it's Jim Sterling had a company give him a copyright strike that he was able to successfully defend using fair use doctrine because he wrote a review that shed a very bad light on a game. I think Total Biscuit had something similar happen to him. The copyright system on YouTube does get abused. I'm not going to say that it doesn't. However, a lot of the people that make the biggest deal about it have no understanding of what actual copyright law is, what fair use doctrine is, what any of this stuff is. And it pisses me off because as a small content creator, copyright law protects my rights. It gives me the ability to someday be able to support myself with my art. And that is very important to me. And watching people shit on it and try and come up with ways and talk about how copyright law should be abolished is just a bunch of people who don't know what they're talking about, destroying something that is designed to help them. If copyright laws were to be abolished, YouTube in general would shut down. All the big famous YouTubers out there would lose their jobs. The small ones who don't technically do this as a job yet would be gone instantly. Because the big media corporations and things like that would simply just steal their stuff and then make profit off of it because they have the ability to distribute it in ways that these YouTubers cannot. All right, copyright law is a good thing. Is it abused? Yes, fairly regularly, unfortunately. However, having it gone, having it abolished would be significantly worse. All right? That's all for this one. Like I said, I am going to make a significantly shorter video talking about Julmus a little bit later today. But please, guys, if you have questions about copyright law, I had to learn about it in school. And I am by no means an expert on it, but apparently I know a shit ton more than your average YouTuber. So if you guys want me to talk more about copyright, we can actually, I will do an entire video series, much higher quality than this, where we talk about what is copyright law, I'll talk about the history of it, all that stuff. But I need to know it's something that you guys are interested in. So in the comments below, let me know. If you have other comments about this, feel free to post them. If you post misleading or just outright wrong facts about copyright, I will just delete your comment. I am so sick of people who don't know a fucking thing about copyright trying to claim it will do this, so it'll do this. It's this horrible thing. No, we're done with that. We need to understand what this system is if we are ever going to be able to use it the way it is intended to, which is to protect our rights as content creators. All right? Again, that's all for me. I will see you guys later today for a Julmus video. All right? Bye-bye!